everyone, and welcome to the first episode of our Women in Tech podcast. I'm Gracie Davidson, the social media and digital lead for the Women in Tech of Huntsville, Alabama. And in the Spark studio with me are Valentina Iscaro, the creative director of Women in Tech, Sonia Robertson, a founding member of Women in Tech, along with attendee Danielle Blanco. These three ladies are going to tell us about the recent event CareerNAV, a little bit about Women in Tech, and all the positive outcomes the CareerNAV had. I'm ready to start discussing CareerNAV with these ladies, so I'm going to go ahead and kick it off. So let's get started, guys. Hello, ladies. Thank you for being in the studio. So I know some of us are familiar as we're a part of the Women in Tech organization, but for our listeners and viewers, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with the organization.
Hello everyone, my name is Valentina Iscaro. I am an educator actually in Huntsville. I am a professor of entrepreneurship at Alabama A&M University and the coordinator of the entrepreneurship program. And for Women in Tech, I am the creative director and one of the founding committee members. How I got involved with WIT is a very long kind of story. So when I moved to Huntsville from Italy in 2017, I didn't even have a work permit, and I started networking around, trying to get involved in the entrepreneurship ecosystem, and I met the director of the Invention 2 Innovation Center, that is the house of Women in Tech, Rick Vejoshi, and Rick Vejoshi is the heart of Women in Tech. So we started collaborating since then. We worked together through several events. And then we started chatting and realizing that there was a void in Huntsville in terms of a community that could support women while they were navigating their career in STEM. And that's how Women in Tech was born, just chatting with Rick event and trying to figure out how to build this community.
Hello, everyone. I'm Sonia Robinson, and I'm the Chief Workforce Strategist and CEO of Spur. And I became involved in WIT when Rigvid tapped me on the shoulder and said, "Hey, Sonia, we're wanting to plan an event and plan some programming around careers." And knowing my background at Spur, being a staffing and recruitment firm, we help individuals land their next big opportunity. He invited me to learn more about WIT, and then the whole group founding committee invited me to also join as a founding committee member. Now, my background is a little unique because I am technically not a tech person. I know very little about coding, very little about technology, but I work for a company whose back office foundation is technology. We've built our own proprietary technology to support our business, and I also work with a team of software engineers. But my background is marketing and PR and business operations. So I'm going to share a little bit more about that story later on in the podcast because I think it's important for women to hear about other paths into tech. But that's me.
Hi, I'm Danielle Blanco, and I was actually an attendee at the Women in Tech event. So I was introduced to it because Rick Vejoshi as well, and my mother also works at the I2C Center, and so I was discussing my hopes to transition into tech, and they were like, "Hey, we have this event coming up, you should attend," and it kind of all went from there.
So I know we kind of discussed a little bit about what Women in Tech is, and I'm pretty sure most of our viewers and listeners will be familiar. But Val, can you kind of just give us a general description of what Women in Tech is for those who don't know?
Sure. Women in Tech, the formal definition of Women in Tech, it's a focused community. But I would also add that it's a focused open community. So we adopt a definition of technology that is very wide. And if you listen to my story and Sonia's story, you realize that our backgrounds are not strictly in technology. So Sonia has a background in marketing. I have a background in business communication and entrepreneurship. But again, so Women in Technology wants to be an open community. The goal of Women in Technology is to educate, encourage, and empower women. And these are the three pillars of the community. We want to help them succeed in the STEM field. This is a man-dominated field, so sometimes can be challenging for a woman to succeed. And we strongly believe that the support of other women may be one of the crucial key to succeed and strive in this field. So this is what Women in Tech is.
You talk about how Women in Tech is about community focus, and community focus. What are some opportunities Women in Tech brings to the community to help support this women field?
So there are several opportunities, and I think that Danielle will be one of the best testimonial. But once again, this goes back to our 3 pillars: encourage, empower, and educate, which are related to some events and opportunities that we offer to our community. So in terms of empower, let's start from that. So we have an incredible mentorship program that is absolutely free, and women at any stage of their career, because another thing, we strongly believe that you need support, whatever is the stage of your career. If you are in an early career or later, if you are already a leader, still you need the support of other women around you. So through the Empower pillar, we offer a mentorship program where mentees and mentor can match, so they can decide to match after a first informal meeting and then proceed from that point on. So young, or I would say, and even mature women can support each other in the field. The other way that we support women is through networking events, and this has been extremely successful. All our events have been sold out. Later in the podcast, I guess we will talk with Danielle about one of the key of this networking event, that is the CareerNAV. And the last pillar is to educate. We really want to offer women some education opportunities. We haven't launched that pillar yet, so I'm not going to say anything. I just want to keep the interest of our audience, but we will launch this pillar next year at the beginning of 2023, so stay tuned.
Awesome. So I know we've had 3 events, and all of them kind of feature different aspects. But the last one we've had was CareerNAV. Sonia, if you want to tell us a little bit about CareerNAV, since Spur kind of did take the initiative and lead us into it.
Yeah, CareerNAV was such a fun program to plan and implement from the start. As soon as this idea kind of blossomed out of our founding committee, so many people latched onto it and just said, yes, this is what we need. So we broke it down into 3 aspects. First, we knew that we wanted to have panel discussions, and we had identified 2 tracks. One track was for early career, individuals who may be newly graduated, individuals who may be looking at a career change and therefore early in the tech path, individuals who may have been out of the paid workforce as a stay-at-home mom or a caregiver to another family member or friend who was looking to get back in to a career in tech. That room was packed out with a panel of young career in tech individuals. And then we also had a panel of leaders in tech. We wanted for attendees who are either on the path of leadership, already in a leadership role, or aspire to be a future leader in tech, to have the opportunity to hear from like-minded individuals. So that was one piece of the program. The second piece was we invited workplaces in our community to attend for our speed interviewing. And we had over a dozen workplaces attend with their HR or recruitment representative to be here to speak directly with candidates who are either passive candidates or active candidates about opportunities that they could move into. And the conversations went beyond just the opportunities, but there were conversations around, how do I even start this journey? How do I even start engaging with your particular company? And then also talking about opportunities. Beyond the speed interviewing, we also had a networking piece. So workplaces also wore buttons that identified them as companies who are hiring women in tech. So even in the open networking, you could identify individuals who are hiring and have one-off conversations with them, either in a passive way or active way. And from those conversations and from the speed interviewing, our hope was that individuals would move in to tech careers. And the reason for this podcast is to celebrate one of those success stories.
Yes, Danielle! So we heard it from the Women in Tech side and how we think it should have translated the Women in Tech organization. But we want to hear from an attendee how it translated and what kind of motivated you to come to our event and what led from it.
Absolutely. So I went to, I believe, the first Women in Tech event, the inaugural event, and that was a great experience. And so I actually missed the second one. But when this third one came up, the CareerNAV, it seemed like the perfect opportunity because currently I teach mathematics, which is tech related, but not exactly. So it's one of those things that we don't necessarily think of when we think of tech. But I was hoping to transition into tech, and so it seemed like a really good opportunity. Like you all said earlier, there's just so many people there, so welcoming, identifiable, people who are hiring, the speed dating, all of that. I actually went to the early career panel, and so that was great to hear those stories of those women. It's just such an empowering event. And beyond just the great feels of it all, you're able to make so many connections, which is where my new career actually started.
Woohoo!
Yay!
Okay, so tell us a little bit about your new career and what led you up to getting this position.
So, actually, Valentina, we were discussing just trying to figure out who I should talk to or what, what the best path is. And so I missed the other panel. I was in the early career panel, and so I didn't get to the leadership one. And one of the panelists in there, she said, I think that you would really relate to her story because she comes from a non-traditional background. And so she was actually going out the door and she called across the room. She's like, wait. I want to introduce you to someone. And so we started that conversation there and we actually exchanged information, kept in contact a little bit. And then she pointed me in the direction of one of the recruiters. And when I got over there, it was getting toward the end of the evening. And so when I got over there, one of the recruiters, she was heading out, but she said, we're having our own event as well. Here's a card. Here's some information. I said, okay, thank you. And I kind of put it in my back pocket because it was about a month later, their event. And so once it got closer to that date, started getting ready for it, went to their event. They had a hiring event out at the Trash Panda Stadium. And so everyone there was so friendly, so helpful. It just kind of played right off of the Women in Tech. I got the same vibes that I got at the Women in Tech event. And they called a few days later with an offer. So
congratulations.
Thank you. So starting directly from the Women in Tech and just moving from there, I would have never received that opportunity. I would have not known anything about it had I not gone to that Women in Tech event.
What do you think your takeaway from this event would be, specifically for women who are transitioning from non-tech to tech careers?
Absolutely. Something that I heard repeatedly from panelists and other women at the tech event was that you really have to network, especially when you're coming, like, I don't have a computer science degree. I come from a non-traditional background, and so trying to get that first position, trying to get your foot in the door, the key is to network. Because when you're able to speak to these people and you're able to demonstrate, hey, here I am, let me speak to you in person, let me talk to you about what I can do, maybe get some information from you as well, that's where they're really going to get that impression, which could possibly lead to an opportunity. So for me, it's just all about networking, which is exactly what this event was. So I'm so grateful that I was able to attend because a little under 2 weeks until my start date at the new company.
If I can add something to what she said. So talking about networking, I think that networking is important everywhere, but even more important in cities like Huntsville. I think that this city has a size which requires networking. So I remember going back to my story when I met WIT, which basically was the meeting that started my career, even in education. I didn't want to go to that networking event. I was like, I don't even have a working permit. I just moved from Italy. It was not there. I was like, I'm not going. So what's the point? It's uncomfortable. You need to sell yourself and you need to, you need to do the pitch. And my husband pushed me. He's like, there's nothing to lose. Just go, grab a drink and go. And I decided to go. And then literally that event was the trigger of everything.
Yeah, you never know.
You never know. And I want to say once again that especially in Huntsville, the city is growing. But the size is perfect for networking because more or less in the tech environment or in the entrepreneurship ecosystem, there are always the same people. So once you are in, it's going to be easy to open and to see new possibilities and opportunities. So
Absolutely.
Just wanted to say something more about networking.
Yeah.
I absolutely agree with you, Danielle.
And then specifically with the Women in Tech event, when you're in a room full of women who are, some of them just trying to break in and some of them in these really high leadership roles, and they're all so supportive. And I think that's one of the biggest things about these events is it's not just this dry networking event where you're just trying to pitch yourself to everyone. It really feels like a community. And I've met other women outside of, you all, and with that opportunity, I've met other women there as well that have tried to help me along my path, help me to make additional connections, or other women who are on the same path as me to where we can just keep in touch and just try to motivate each other.
So Sonia, we're doing a great job. We're building a community that
Absolutely.
feels like a community.
I love it. I love it.
Well, I know y'all talked about the early career path. Actually, I knew a few ladies who were in their career and they actually went to the early career path to learn how to restart and kind of retransition to a new path. So I thought that was kind of cool hearing their perspective of how they were using it. And I know you also you talked about the events and stuff, but you forgot to mention we had free headshots from Gigaparts. They did offer that.
We had beautiful headshots from Gigaparts. Their entire marketing team came over, set up a beautiful studio, and our attendees walked out the door with beautiful, new, fresh headshots. I am a believer in personal brand, and your headshot is the start of that. And I encourage anyone, whoever, to update your headshot every 2 years. And for them to come in and do it for free, such a great takeaway for our attendees.
Not only the attendees. I got my headshot as well.
Yeah, I did as well.
I was an attendee.
So how can people connect with Women in Tech? How are some ways they can get in touch and know about our next event so there can be other opportunities like Danielle for other people?
First and foremost, y'all know what I'm going to say. Social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Please follow us on social so you can get the latest updates on what's going on with Women in Tech Huntsville. Beyond that, on our website, the founding members are listed. Reach out to us. Find us on LinkedIn. Send us a connection. Let us know that you want to connect around women in tech. So that stands out in your message, because trust me, my LinkedIn inbox gets a little full sometimes. But connect with us. But going back to what Val and Danielle said about networking, is people genuinely want to help you. Don't be afraid to ask. They genuinely want to help. They want to help you land that next amazing career. And women in Huntsville, we are here to support each other, to encourage each other, empower each other for that next big move and see you be successful. So don't hesitate to reach out to any of us, connect with us, ask us to meet for coffee. And if you reach out and ask me to meet you for coffee, I'm even going to treat you to a cup. So that's how you can connect. And again, follow us on social media to stay tuned to our next event. It's coming up in December. I'm going to keep a few of the details close to the cuff right now. There will be a big announcement coming, and we're excited about it. We have a great business partner who is helping us put this event on. And that's the other thing. Our business community has embraced Women in Tech. They are happy to see this organization here. And just based on the fact that our events have been at capacity, tells us that there is an appetite for this in our community. And we, as the founding committee, and Val as the creative director, we take that responsibility very seriously and want to make sure that we're doing our part to build and nurture this community. And our business partners are incredible in supporting us.
I can guarantee you will not be disappointed if you participate in one of our events. It's, first of all, a lot of fun.
Our numbers just get bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. We started out, I think, 100, then it goes to 130, then I think we're hitting 150. It's just getting bigger and bigger.
It's getting bigger and bigger. that we always have great food and drinks. We have a great community, as Danielle was saying, and Sonia. There are a lot of women that just want to support other women. So stay tuned.
All right, so I think we're going to start wrapping things up, and we all come from different backgrounds, so I want to ask y'all, what piece of advice would you give to women who are wanting to start a technical career or kind of already in that technical career?
First of all, is networking. I'd go back there because I think is a key to succeed. Networking is essential, and even more, find the support of other women that went through the same path, meaning they probably face the same the challenges that you are facing right now, and have an absolute real perspective of how you can face those challenges. And once again, we have an incredible community. Women want to help other women succeed. So this is my piece of advice. Network and find a good mentor, a woman that can mentor you.
Well, for me, obviously going back to the networking, but as someone who's just breaking in, I would say just jump in. For a while, I really was kind of like, this is something I want to do, but I don't know how to go about it. Just jump in. Jump in, and you might start something and think, okay, this is not exactly the path that I want. Because tech is such a general field, and there's so many different opportunities within tech. So to just jump in, and even if you figure out what you don't want to do, that's really important as well, to be able to get that direction and start working on the skills so you can figure out what your eventual path will be, and then continue to network along the way.
I agree with you. No simply isn't the answer. You don't just stop because you don't think you can do it. You keep going until you know for a fact you can't. I agree with you on that one.
Yeah, and don't forget that tech companies need all disciplines. As I alluded earlier in our conversation, my background is PR and marketing. Work with software engineers. I work at a tech company, but we need all disciplines to make tech companies successful. And to Danielle's point, jump in, but guess what? This idea of a parallel career can work for you as well. So if you're working in a career and you think to yourself, man, I would love to pursue a different path, but maybe I'm not at a place where I can make a move right away. Launch a parallel career. People do that all the time. Entrepreneurs do that all the time. High-performing professionals, most of them have a side hustle or a parallel career. So take that opportunity and advantage to launch something or pursue something while you still have a good foundation in another job. There's nothing wrong with that.
I agree. Again, you're talking about how all technology fields need it. I work at a technology school, and I was hired on as the marketing communications person because I really needed someone.
And you do a phenomenal job, Gracie.
Yeah, but they needed that personal touch, so I agree with y'all. But I think we've covered everything. This is an awesome first episode of Women in Tech podcast. So thank you, ladies, for being on the podcast. It was wonderful
Thank you,
fun.
Gracie.
Yeah, and if I could just thank you ladies as well, because the vision that you had, it has come to fruition. And so if you guys had not really just jumped in and gotten to it, we would not be having this moment right now. So thank you both.
Congratulations to you, Danielle.
Thank you.
And to Gracie as well for the new job.
Thank you. Yay. I don't know about y'all, but I'm ready for the next event. Make sure you stay connected by following us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at WIT_HSV, or you can follow the I2C social media platforms at UAH I2C. Bye, everyone. And remember, women elevate us.